We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Today is Monday. Hopefully things are going well for you. Kind of a busy weekend, some shit happening, some crazy shit. We're going to talk about that, of course. I just want to give people a heads up on today's program. And if you're listening to this in terms of the podcast, yesterday's program, that is a show you want to listen to. I did an interview with Old Soul. And Old Soul is a regular guest on the Rational Boomer podcast. She was in Los Angeles a week or so ago, and she ended up getting detained by ICE. She is American born. She happens to be a woman of color, and she was detained for 2.5 days. Now, you'll hear a lot of things about, oh, it's no big deal. It's not that bad. Well, when you hear Old Soul tell what she saw and what she experienced in this thing, you're going to be appalled. And I think it's absolutely important that we let people know exactly what is going on and what this government is doing to American citizens, immigrants no less. So if you haven't listened to the show I did with Old Soul, I would suggest you go back and listen to it. It's there. It's available anytime you want to do that, but check it out. Now, those of you in the live, we're going to be talking to a lot of folks. The regular panel will be here, and we'll take people from the audience and give them a chance to talk. I'm sure there's a lot of opinions and perspectives that people want to get across, and we're happy to allow you to do that. But this will also be a Rational Boomer podcast. It'll go up and available at about 12:15 on YouTube and on Spotify. It'll be video on YouTube, video and audio on Spotify, so be sure to check it out. A lot of people coming in right now. We got somebody from Fredonia, New York. Joseph says, good evening, Mike. Trump better not take us into a full-scale war. Yeah, we're going to talk about that for a bit, too. See if my moderators are in the house. They are. We've got TJ the plumber. And Rebecca, and we had one other one there too. I thought I hit that person, but it didn't. Okay, I invited the analytical Iowan. He didn't take the bait yet, but if he wants to, he can. Tonya says hello from Minnesota as well. From Denver, we got a lot of people from New Brunswick. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there as well. My wife and I got a chance to spend the day with our granddaughter, so that was fucking awesome. Anyway, TJ, we went through kind of a wild weekend. A lot of people were worried about this parade that Donald Trump had, and I was looking forward to it, actually, because I knew he'd fuck it up one way or another. And he didn't do anything specifically to fuck it up other than to pout like a little whiny bitch because it was a shitty parade. What was your perspective on it?
Yeah, it really cracked me up, actually. And we kind of talked about this before, is that we said that absolutely nobody's going to show up for the motherfucker. And, you know, he said, well, their press secretary or whoever it was said that there was 200,000 people there. No fucking way. That's absolutely not true. My estimate on the videos that I saw was less than 20,000.
The reports I heard from OAN's, I think OAN or Newsmax said 10,000.
Yeah, it was less than 20 for sure. And
I think the final count was 8,600 or something like that.
Oh my God! Yeah, and we called it. I mean, we all called it. It's not a surprise, you know. And the Trump-la-fucks are losing their mind. And I saw one post today, and I had to laugh that they were complaining because they thought it was insulting that none of the news networks covered the parade like they did the protests. And I'm like, and I wanted to say something I didn't, but I wanted to say that's because they didn't want to show the video of fucking nobody there. You dumb motherfucker. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, they don't get it, man. It's crazy.
Now they don't get it. We have Eric from Iowa. Analytical Iowan is with us today. I was in your state briefly, just over the border, and got the hell out of there fairly quickly before I lost a
I'd be
brain
getting
cell
the
or
hell out
two.
too if it was you. If I was you.
Yeah. The one place I don't want to get recognized is in fucking Iowa, because I'm guessing I don't have a lot of friends down there.
It'd be better than
safer.
Texas.
I don't know. From
Yeah,
the
true.
videos I saw of the protests here yesterday, there were a lot of people turning out in a lot of cities I didn't expect them to turn out in.
Oh, hell yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of numbers? What kind of numbers were you looking at?
I didn't get
you
any
know-
numbers, but like there was a small town that's about hour and a half from me, and I'd say at a guess, I'm thinking the population is between 3,000 and 5,000 in the town, and I'd say about
Okay.
300-400 people showed up from the couple of videos I saw from it. I mean, not
Wow.
huge numbers, but you're talking a small rural red county, and in their county seat is still 300 or 400 people showing up.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Yeah, actually, we're
Surprising.
talking 10-15%. Yeah, that's unbelievable. I was going to ask you about the parade too. We had the No Kings protest, and I've heard anywhere from 5 to 11 million people came out on No Kings protest day. It was an amazing turnout. I mean, I think a lot of people got a lot of confidence out of this and felt like we're turning a corner on this whole Trump thing. But if the parade got 10,000 people, there were people in D.C. also protesting against Donald Trump and going toward the White House.
Right.
And I'm willing to bet there were more people protesting against Donald Trump than showed up at the parade. And there was one guy that was on television that was kind of taunting Donald Trump, he said you said you'd hit us with heavy force if we came here. Bitch, we're here. Where are you? And he's sitting pouting, watching the fucking tanks go by.
Yeah. The whole thing, the parade was a joke. We looked pathetic. And this is no disrespect to the military, but they were silently protesting being there. They didn't want to be there. I've seen a lot of videos of veterans talking about how just out of habit they march in step or walk in step with other people just from habit of doing it for so long. They have to consciously think about not doing it. Then you watch these videos and they're out of step. They're casually walking. It just looked like they didn't want to be there at all.
Oh, hell no. And it's funny because the Trumplafucks are all saying, oh, you guys don't respect the military because you didn't, you're out protesting. It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with that.
Exactly.
It's not that we don't respect the military, it's that we don't respect Donald Trump. I mean,
Yeah.
I want to see what you guys think about this. I heard somebody talking about this, and they were talking about the military. You were talking about a silent protest, and somebody had brought up about the military that once you get into training, the first thing you do is learn how to march, and they ingrain it in your head so you're in sync with everybody else. But during that parade, they looked like they were taking a fucking stroll. There was no coordination. There was no syncing up of the steps or anything. And some people have suggested that was the military's way of saying, yeah, we don't fucking care. We're protesting this. Does that make sense to any of you guys?
Yeah, it does make sense.
does.
And Eric and I talked to Trucker last night about that because Trucker picked up on that right away because he's a veteran. And he picked up on that just from watching it. And that's absolutely true. They were not enthusiastic and in step with each other. It was just like lackadaisical. They didn't give a fuck, which they shouldn't because it's a joke.
Well, it is a joke, and it's a tough situation to put them in. They are required to do what the commander-in-chief says, but when it's ridiculous and it's an embarrassment, I can understand why they wouldn't want to do it.
Right.
Lisa, Lisa H. said something here, and I heard tonight. Aaron Parnas has been reporting that Trump is calling for more ICE raids in blue cities. No time to relax. And I got to be honest with you. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he's just going into blue states and doing massive raids, because it's a response. It's a narcissistic response from getting his ass kicked by the parade and having 11 million people protesting against him. He's got to show strength. He's got to hit back, and that's all he's got at this point.
Right, but the thing he fails to realize is that the more he does this, the stronger will resist him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just going to look stupid every single fucking time.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think this was a turning point? You know, the big show for the No Kings protest and Donald Trump's shitty turnout for his parade. Do you feel like this is a turning point in this old Donald Trump bullshit?
It's the beginning of a turning
We
point.
can only hope.
I've been saying for a long time, Republicans are going to wake up at some point and go, "Oh shit, my reelection chances are in jeopardy," and they're going to turn on him. This is them. This is whether they're not going to admit it. This probably is going to clearly catch their attention. At least it's going to start that process. But they are going to wait to turn on until it's way too late.
It's already too late. Let's be honest. I mean, the stink's going to be there no matter what they do.
But we got to keep the pressure up going forward. Showing up with 11 million strong for one protest day is great, but this needs to turn into more protests and all the way through to the midterms. We need the voter turnout so we can flip the House, maybe even flip the Senate, so we can put some checks and balances back in place and stop and start to undo some of what Donald Trump has already done.
Right.
Yeah.
And my friend said something to me today, and he said, well, Americans have, I was bringing up the midterms, and he said, well, Americans have short memories about things that happen. And I said, I agree with you that that's true. However, I said, I don't think Americans are going to forget this bullshit with ICE and the unlawful activities that are happening. I think that's a bridge too far. Like, if he did something policy-wise that was stupid, regular people have short memories on that. But I think this is a little too big for people to forget.
Well, you have to take these protests and kind of turn it into a movement, an ongoing movement. And I think that's starting to develop right now.
Well, there's that. And as far as I'm not forgetting, the other thing we got to remember is this is Donald Trump we're talking about. He's not one to back down. He can't ever admit that he's wrong, and he's going to keep escalating things. And his attempts at doing all of this stuff is going to keep getting worse and worse. He's going to continue to fail, and that's going to keep people motivated, hopefully, to turn out and flip Congress at least in the midterms.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to pull somebody up here that I'm sure all you guys want to talk to, including the audience. She was on the podcast today on Sunday. Old Soul, welcome back. We had kind of a extensive talk about your situation out in LA and how you doing today.
I'm good. Happy Father's Day, everybody.
Thank you.
I was
Hey,
like,
Old Soul.
I was gonna text you, and then I was like, well, let me see if he's on live. I don't know why I had that feeling, and here you were on live.
Yeah.
Here I am.
I'm not gonna lie. And it's not anyone's fault. But today's podcast kind of fucking ruined my day because I was so pissed off when I heard what happened to you. I was beside myself about how angry I was about it, and it kind of messed up my whole day. But I actually needed that. I needed to hear what happened to have that knowledge and that information about everything that I've suspected all along. Everything that happened that proves everything that we've said. Like, I said that these ICE people are the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers, and we found out that is absolutely true. They're grabbing people up, with no probable cause. They're not giving them due process. Everything that we've suspected is 100% true, and we all know it now today. Even though it made me
Yeah.
really mad about what happened, I can at least take that away that all of our suspicions are verified.
Just so
Yeah.
people know, what the circumstances are. Old Soul, and I'm going to let her talk because she can talk about a lot of things here. But Old Soul was on my Rational Boomer podcast today, Sunday, and the reason I thought it was important, she's on frequently anyway because she has so many things she can talk about, and she's an activist like no other activist I know of. But I wanted her on because she had spent some time in ICE detention in Los Angeles, about 2.5 days. And I didn't know really the details of what she went through until she was on the show. So as I'm hearing this, I'm going, fuck. And the reason I thought it was important to do this is because so many Republicans, Trump-la-fucks, Donald Trump, all these people will say, oh, that's not happening. You're just lying. It's a hoax. That's just Democrats talking shit. Well, I got to tell you, if you listen to the Rational Boomer podcast and you say, I don't believe that Mike, that Rational Boomer, I don't believe him. Okay, there are some people out there that do that. But I guarantee you there's nobody that says Old Soul's a liar. So I thought it was important to get that information out directly from Old Soul's mouth, somebody who experienced it firsthand. And if Republicans want to come in and threaten me because I'm exposing this shit, go ahead. Fuck you. I don't care. Anyway, Old Soul, go ahead. I know you got some things on your mind.
Yes, if there was some comments in the comment section that I can clear up, because like when I was talking about it, I hadn't really gone into like detailed about it, so it's just kind of
Right.
like me realizing some stuff at the same time. But I think we have to keep in mind that people are still in there, and that you have to
Right.
think like, when I left, those people are still in there. And then I saw a girl, well, she was a young woman, but her dad is in ICE detention. I don't know if you guys have seen her TikTok video. She voted for Trump, but her father is terminally ill. Like, he only has a few more months left. And she had like a hearing over the phone to see if he can get like a medical exemption and be released. And it was unanimous. They told her no. And they were saying that we
Oh,
have to
fuck.
keep the streets safe. She turned her comments section off. I was going to try to maybe say something encouraging to her, even though she did vote for Trump. But I can understand why she turned the comment sections off, because people were just ripping her to shreds. And I felt
Oh,
so
yeah.
sad because I know what his last days are going to be like. And even if he does get deported, he's going to another country with no medical care. I know in the ICE detention center, he's not getting any medications, no type of care, nothing. He is just in there. So that's going to do nothing but expedite his passing. And people don't understand like how much worse it can be. So, yeah. That is pretty hard.
Okay, before we go on with some of the other stuff about ICE and all that, this needs to be said because this might literally be breaking news. I don't use that term because everybody fucking overuses it. But this just came across, and somebody in the comments, Aracuda or Arcuda, said they caught the guy in Minnesota, the guy that assassinated the former
Yeah.
Speaker of the House and the senator. And this is what it says on Huffington Post. Vance Bolter, who's wanted for shooting 2 Minnesota lawmakers at their homes early Saturday morning while allegedly dressed like a police officer, was captured by police Sunday after a lengthy manhunt. So I don't know if there's any details as to where he was caught or what the circumstances around it, but that's good news. Honestly, I was a little surprised that it's taken this long. And personally, I thought if they hadn't caught him yet, that he may have unalived himself and was laying in the woods someplace and just hard to find. But it
Right.
sounds like he's alive and he has been caught. And this is absolutely good news for a horrific day. I couldn't even believe it when I woke up and I heard this. I'm going, what the fuck is the point?
Yeah, and the Trump-a-fucks are all lying about the whole thing too. They're saying, "Oh, he worked for Tim Walz. He's a Democrat." Actually, no, he's a Republican and he's an avid Trump supporter. And they're trying to lie about the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, he was on some small workforce
course they are.
board while
Yeah,
Tim
workforce
Walz
that-
was the governor.
Workforce Development Board. I'm on that board for my state. And it doesn't mean shit. Just because you're appointed to that board doesn't mean anything. Like, there's Republicans and Democrats on that board in my state.
Yeah, Republicans can say whatever they want, but here's what we know, and we got it from his best friend. He's a registered Republican. He voted for Trump. He's a rabid anti-abortionist.
Right.
That is not a Democrat. That is not somebody who's in sync with Tim Walz. He's one of you crazy, stupid, mouth-breathing, red meat-eating pieces of shit. I'm sorry,
Exactly.
but that's the way it is.
Is his
Yep.
social media still up? Because I honestly thought like it depends on who catches him that maybe they would unalive him intentionally because they want to be able to carry that narrative and tell those lies. But taking him in alive, I mean, it's kind of giving him no choice but to face who he is.
Yeah, it's a strange situation. I was surprised by it, but you know, this if you hear the story about this guy is a little weird. He claims to be an evangelical minister. He claims to have a PhD. He works with security. He was on this board. He hasn't been on the board since 2023. He has a house in Green Isle, Minnesota, which is down headed toward Gaylord. But he also lives in a house 2 nights a week in North Minneapolis with 2 guys. I don't know if this is some closeted bullshit or what. But
Sounds
there's
like
something
some Mike,
weird going on with this guy.
sounds like some Mike Johnson weirdo shit for sure.
Yeah, you guys.
what
See,
did-
I don't know if you guys know, but Mike Johnson, when he's in this DC, he stays with this evangelical pastor guy, and all of the neighbors talk about him like answering the door in panties and stuff. It's weird, but that's who he's staying with, and I'm like, there's nothing wrong with it, but when you listen to him and the Republican Party talk, it's like, okay, so you're not gonna get called out on none of this. It's so weird, but okay, do you?
Well, they probably both have grinder profiles too. So
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
Well,
No,
he may have
no
been
doubt.
staying with those guys because he didn't actually have a job.
Well, he had the security company, but apparently wasn't going well. And one of the reasons I
No,
thought he
there's-
might do something. Go ahead.
There was literally no evidence at all except that the phone that he incorporated a business and it rang to a private line, and he bought a vehicle which he then turned into a fake police vehicle. Like, he literally had done no business. There's no record of any business he's ever done,
He pretended to be something?
according to his best friend.
Oh, no.
Well, you know what this guy sounds like to me, and I used to run into these people, you know, when I was a traffic reporter and dealing with law enforcement a lot. There's a faction of people in this country, men mainly, that couldn't get a job on a police force, but loved to cosplay police force stuff. You know, they'd have lights in their cars, and they'd have the suits and the flak jackets. They could never get on board with any law enforcement agency, but they like to act like they did. And there's a lot of those motherfuckers around, and that's what this guy sounds like he is. I mean, why would he have a police officer's outfit, bulletproof vest, and whatever else he has, and maybe even a badge so that he can try to pull this off? This is a goofy motherfucker.
He is.
Cosplaying like Christy Nome.
Yeah,
'Cause that's all he does.
yeah. Christy Nome is is one strange. I call her Botox Barbie because that face is so fucking puffy. I can't even tell you. I'm going to pull somebody up here. Her name is Tina Stevenson. Tina, how you doing? What's on your mind?
Oh, hi, I'm Tina Stevenson. Sorry, my voice.
Oh, that's all right.
Hi.
What's up?
hello.
What's on your mind today?
So we were talking about the murderer,
Right.
and his roommate did a video where he's like crying and talking about how they never would have expected this from him, and specifically says like that they knew nothing. And I, for one, am not buying it. Like, you knew your roommate was thinking about doing something because you don't live in a house with people and not talk about what you're thinking about doing.
Yeah.
I 100% they knew what he was planning on doing and probably even egged him on a little bit. But now that it's done, they're crying like he was such a good guy, no, he wasn't.
Tina, doesn't it make you a little suspicious when he read that text? When he specifically said, "Well, I made some bad choices. You won't see me for a while, or maybe I'll be dead. I can't tell you anymore because I don't want to
Yeah,
implicate you." He said that twice in that text.
yeah.
Sounds like a setup to me. Like you say,
It's
how would they not know?
exactly it's literally like setting the groundwork so that they won't be implicated.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, I've watched well, not to say I've watched enough true crime to like be an expert, but that is
Well,
very much a text that you would send to your co-conspirators when you're ready to do the thing and take the fall. So you send that message to your co-conspirators, and maybe they're not as guilty as he is, but they're at least complicit because they knew what he was going to do, and they
well,
probably very strongly felt the same way he did.
and in that text, the only thing he didn't do was put the wink emoji. That would have set it off perfectly. But now, did you hear that his wife was detained? She was up north of town, up by Malacca or something like that, and in the car there was a gun and there was a passport. And she goes, "Oh, I'm just visiting friends."
Oh
Oh,
yeah, of
with a
course.
passport
Yeah.
and a gun.
And
How close are
like
you?
a
No,
I mean,
and
this
like an
all
no
seems
exorbitant
plans
amount
sketchy.
at
of
all.
cash.
This is just
Yeah.
how I roll. I know I drive around with a passport and a gun. Does it everybody else? No?
I can't talk shit on that because my passport's in my backpack and my gun is usually with me. So I really can't say, but that's weird.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I
I
mean,
don't.
there is the chance that she was like, "What the fuck? I got to get out of here because they're going to come after me next." I mean, she may have been, yeah, but probably not.
Yeah. Well, Tina, thank you for coming on. I'm trying to get as many people as I can on. I appreciate it, Tina, and please come back anytime.
Okay. Oh, you're
All
kicking
right.
me
Thank
out.
you.
Bye.
Well, no, I'm bringing people in
I,
and take.
I was gonna
If
mute myself and then just listen along if that's cool.
Well, if as long as I got room, because I only have so many people I can bring up at a time. You can do that if you want. You can do that if you want, but typically I don't do that. But I'm a
Okay.
good guy. Go ahead, mute yourself, and I'm going to pull somebody else up here. Okay. I can't do that for everybody because there's only so much room up in this bitch. All right, let's go to Oliver's mom. She's always got some interesting points of view. Hey, Oliver's mom, what's on your mind?
Hey, I was going
Hey, Kim.
hey, go back to the parade a little bit. I
Yeah.
saw some video that looked like it was shot from possibly a tank, and it was pointing into the bleachers, showing how empty the bleachers were.
Yeah,
And
it was pretty
Hmm.
embarrassing.
to see that the military might have been recording that for that purpose was just, priceless.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were doing princess waves. I don't know if anybody noticed that. They weren't saluting. They weren't doing like a regular, hey, how you doing wave. They were doing the princess cup the hand and turn the wrist waves and stuff like that in some of the shots. It's just,
I do feel bad for the military today. I'm gonna mute myself again, but I do feel bad for the military
Now, see,
yesterday.
Tina, this is why I usually drop people out because I want to get to the next people, and it's not anything against you. It's just a matter of getting as many people on as possible. And, we can only get so many on during the hour and a half that we do this. I just want to get on as many people as possible.
Hey, Kim,
yeah.
let me ask you a question. Do you think that and this is probably valid. Do you think that they were doing that because they felt disgusted about the fact that it looked like a Kim Jong Un like military parade and they
Oh,
didn't want it to look that way and that's why they were doing that?
I have a feeling, yeah, they were trying to make it look just like casual. We're just
Right.
here. They were there because they were given an order to be there, and it wasn't an illegal order. It wasn't like it was something that they could say, "Oh, I'm not going to do that," because it wasn't
Right, right.
illegal or something
Exactly.
they could say no to. So they
Right.
were there to because they were told to be there. And you
Right.
talked about them being out of step. Yes, they were definitely out of step. There wasn't as much to me. There wasn't as much equipment there as you would see in a Kim Jong Un parade, because they were spacing it out so crazy. If you
Right.
looked at the way that the tanks were spaced
There-
out, they were alternating side to side.
There were some very squeaky tanks, though.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was some relic equipment that was a little squeaky.
yeah. But they were putting, okay, this tank's on the right, and then 50 yards back, the other tank's on the left, and then they were scattering them, so it looked like it was a bigger procession than it really was. Yeah. And we
Yeah.
see military parades from these other countries. They're all uptight, close together, showing
Right.
all the power, and it just wasn't like that.
I really think they held back because they didn't want it to look like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. That they held back because they wanted to, not look like what you would expect, and maybe they didn't want to give Donald Trump the satisfaction. And there was some talk I've seen in the comments. Oh, well, this was already planned under Biden 2 years ago. They were planning this.
No, it wasn't.
Well,
Bullshit.
Well, what was planned, there was a birthday celebration planned for the Army, but it was smaller things, festivals at forts, things like that. It wasn't going to be a big military parade, and it wasn't going to be this big thing that we got.
Right.
And that didn't happen until Donald Trump came around, and he had this vision. Oh, I can have an excuse to get my military parade on my birthday, no less. Let's
Well-
make that happen.
Let's make it perfectly clear. It was never about it was never about the Army. It was never about veterans. It was never about the military. It was about Donald Trump's ego.
Yeah.
Yep,
But
100%.
and it went the way everything Donald Trump does. It went the opposite way he wanted. He wanted to show strength. He wanted to show that he was in control, that he was powerful, because in his heart he realizes fucker's not powerful at all. So he puts it on, and it's not only like warm milk, it's an embarrassment. And you
Right.
could see it on his face. You could see it on Hegseth's face. It was an absolute embarrassment. They got exactly the opposite of what he wanted to do.
Yep.
And what's he do today? He says, "Okay, I'm going to send ICE into all the blue states." He's trying to hit back so he can maintain this image of strength, and he keeps looking weaker every fucking day.
Right. And I screenshot that video of him right at the right moment. And I sent it to you because he looked like such a little sad Donny boy because his birthday parade got ruined.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the British, the UK had what they call trooping the colors yesterday, where the king and it looked like maybe Camilla Parker Bowles and Kate Middleton were all up on the stage with him, and the troops basically marched past, which they do every year, and the precision, the accuracy, the way they were marching. If you saw the little bit that I saw, they were marching because they were proud to be there, and it was such a contrast to the parade. It was just to see the difference of a group of people that's proud to present themselves as to a group of people that really didn't want to be there. It was just a stark contrast.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hearing from a lot of people in the comments, like somebody from Nashville says the turnout was big. And you would expect the big turnouts in the LA and the New York and the blue states, but this has to get under the skin of the Republicans when red states like Tennessee and some other, even Texas had a pretty good turnout. That's got to get under their nerves when in their own red states they've got these huge protests against this orange stupid motherfucker.
Yeah. Well, there's a little community. I guess it would be considered a medium-sized city down on the eastern shore of Maryland. It's called Salisbury, and they had a protest yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking, we're not talking a big city like Baltimore. We're talking, or even Annapolis or anything like that. We're talking about a smaller little city that was basically a farming community at one point, and they had a protest. Now, I don't know how many people showed up to it, but I had family in the area that was telling me that, it was there. So, it was all over the place.
Well, there was a comment of a guy who's now blocked because I blocked him. He made a cutting statement. He says, "Well, he's going to be in office for 3.5 years. You better get used to it." No, motherfucker, you better get used to the fact that his time as president is probably getting shorter by the day. And guess who's going to take him out? Not the Democrats. Your own motherfucking people are going to
Republicans.
take him out because he is a liability, he's an embarrassment, and he's going to cost you votes and cost you elections. So 3.5 years, I don't fucking think so.
No, no. It's just a matter of who's, are we going to end up with J.D. Vance? And if we are, how are we going to get rid of him? And then, who's he going to appoint as his vice president? And, do we have to then fool with that also? Because it could work out that we just end up with continuation of the same thing with
Right.
another person in there.
Absolutely. We've got people coming in the comments saying that they captured the shooter in Minnesota of the lawmakers. We talked about that a little bit earlier. We're aware of that. We'll probably talk more about it in a little bit, but that's absolutely right. The guy named Vance Bolter, the assassin in Minnesota that went after the lawmakers, he has been caught. Thank God for that. I don't know any of the details as yet, but as soon as we find out, we'll certainly pass that along.
I just gotta say, when it comes to what happened with this guy, look, we know Republicans are very, very quick to, call Democrats all this crazy stuff and lie, and they just exploit every freaking thing. And I think one of the most disgusting things they've been doing is try to blame Tim Walz for what happened. Donald
Yeah.
Trump said it wouldn't have happened if he wasn't a horrible governor and all of this crap. Like, what does that have to do with one of your rogue supporters committing these types of crimes? So that part is just getting next to me. I know they're going to blame someone and they are not going to take responsibility, but that part, it just gets under my skin. I think.
Yeah, and my memory might be short, but weren't the two people that attempted to unalive Trump, weren't they Republicans also?
Yep, all of them.
Yeah. So it's,
Yeah, all of them.
yeah.
All right.
JD Farmer suggested I bring this gentleman up, and we've had him on here before.
All right.
And he might be just the right person to talk to because I know he is a vet.
And just
and
real
he's very
quick,
articulate on time.
and just
Go
real
ahead.
quick in between, there's some Trumplefox showing up in the chat. Don't interact with them. Let us deal with them. We'll deal with them. Don't even respond to any of them.
No, don't.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
my
worth
I
it.
literally blocked somebody named Jesus Christ, and then I also blocked somebody named Phoebe who gave her dating profile.
Oh, gee.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
don't-
saw her too.
It's
Don't-
like it's really bad right now.
Yeah, don't react. Like there's a lot of people in here, and we love the TikTok shop. So don't don't interact with any of the Trumplefox. We'll take care of them.
Absolutely. Trucker T, thanks for coming on, and I know you have some thoughts about this parade and maybe other things as well.
Hey, thanks, Mike. I was kind of just hanging out in the comments and I saw JD's message, so I wanted to come up. And my bad, TJ. I couldn't help myself on that one. It was too easy.
I understand. I understand it, getting pissed off. I get it. Trust me.
So anyway, about the military business, right? So there was two things that really stood out to me, right? And I don't know if you guys noticed this or not, or even know this, but in the military, when you're doing your march and your parade, you have to go eyes right to the highest in command, right? The very first person
Right.
has to go eyes right, and that person starts the salute. Well, just so happens the person who had to be the first to salute him was Hispanic, and I about dropped dead.
Wow.
I love it.
And to see his face that he had to salute this Latino person was everything to me. I absolutely love that. And the second thing I loved was this guy that was behind Melania for some reason with his tongue out of his mouth the entire time. I don't
Wow.
understand what that was all about, but he kept doing it and he kept doing it. It was almost like he wanted to get on TV. But anyway, those were my first two observations.
The
And
thing
then,
is, the thing is, with a guy with his tongue out, he's either lusting after Melania, or he is a typical Trump-fuck ass kisser, and he's going the French route this time.
well, I would just say you. And then, we talked about this last night. Hey, Eric, long time no talk to you.
Yesterday.
Yeah, just yesterday. Yeah. We practice in March. Like when I first joined the military, I got so tired of learning how to walk all over again. You know what I mean? In unison. We go
Right.
heel toe. They would say, we had to line up so close to where they would say, make your buddy smile, if you know what I mean. Like we were that close up on them. And we were in stride. There's two steps that you hear. The first one and the last one. If it's one person or if it's 150 people or it's 1,000 people. When they tell you to stop, you hear two steps. When you march, you hear two steps. Yesterday, I heard about 1,700 steps, and they were all lackadaisical. They didn't have any, the expressions on their faces was of disgust. Like they're thinking, man, I could lose my pension for this, right? Like if I didn't show up for this stupid thing,
Right.
I've been in the military for 20 years, and if I decide not to go, I'll get court-martialed, lose all my pension, and then
Right.
so they had to do it. They didn't want to, so I feel sorry for those guys. So, and Oliver's mom said last night, and she was absolutely correct. It's not an illegal order to march in a parade.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
It
So
sucks.
do you think that do you think the fact that they were marching the way they were, do you think that was some kind of silent protest, or just fuck
Okay.
it, let's get through this thing?
So what that was, you probably watched the old movies like when they gave sock parties and all of that, where everybody got together and they mentioned, hey, tonight at 2300 we have a sock party for TJ the Plumber.
Right.
So we put the soap in the socks and we whooped TJ's ass. They had a sock party for him, but it was a quiet one where let's just get through this bullshit and get up out of here. That's what that was.
Okay.
You better not put a soap in a sock and try to whip my ass.
Do you think that they will be reprimanded or in trouble
No.
because of their performance?
No, because we were there. The Uniform Code of Military Justice says that we have to follow the order. We followed the order and we marched. He didn't say he marched with a fucking smile. He just
Right.
said march. You know what I mean? Oh,
Yep.
so they just said you have to be there. You have to have your BDUs on, your battle dress uniforms, and you have to march. And when you get close enough, then you salute the fuckers. Then they saluted them and they kept going.
But that's good.
Well,
they won't get
nobody
reprimanded.
in the administration is smart enough to like give them specific instructions. So
No, I have a question for everybody.
Unenthusiastically.
Right. Hey, I was there. I showed up. I got my cheeseburger and soda, just like the other civilians got for showing up for this stupid thing. And I went home. You know what I mean?
I have a question for everybody. In the very beginning, they were showing the different uniforms throughout the military. Okay, and in the very
Yeah.
beginning, I may be wrong, but I thought they showed the revolutionary uniforms as being red.
Red.
Wrong, but
That would have been the British. That would have been the British.
exactly.
Right.
Now I may have been wrong, but I thought that I saw red uniforms. And
Wow.
What was there? Wait, hold on a minute. There was no
So the red
revolutionary
coats-
uniforms. It was like guerrilla warfare, and they just wore plain clothes.
right, but
Yeah.
There were some
the British
uniforms.
had red uniforms.
The British wore red uniforms.
exactly.
The red coats.
Well, there might have been
Red coats.
some red uniforms from the soldiers that they were British soldiers that now turned and fought for the Americans.
Right.
Right,
Like Washington, he had been a British officer.
right. But I
Yeah.
guess if we're going with the we didn't have actual uniforms for our troops back then. Did he just want them to look like they were had uniforms and put them in? I don't know. It just seemed very odd to me with how they were dressed as they were supposed to be representing the revolutionary military.
Well,
Did you
the
see the
ki-
flyer for the parade?
I'm sorry?
Did you see the flyer for the parade? Because it had the like the Russian colors at the bottom of that flyer that
I
they
sure
took out.
did.
Oh,
They,
okay.
they had that on Flag Day
Right.
also on
Yeah,
the
I
actual
saw
website.
that and I was like, what the? Yeah, I didn't know if people picked up on it, but I saw that. That was pretty disgusting when I saw that.
I got
I
to
don't
tell
know
you,
if
if Donald Trump did this to impress Vladimir Putin, they're fucking laughing their asses off at him right now. Literally, they're making fun of him in Russia because of the ridiculous turnout. Somebody's saying, did you hear they blamed the low turnout on weather? People predicting rain. Yeah, they're gonna. The sun was in my eyes. The dogs ate it. You know, there's going to be all kinds of fucking excuses. The fact is, Donnie, nobody likes you. You're a dumb fuck, and you had a boring parade. That's why you couldn't draw fucking flies. As
Right.
it was, all you drew was cockroaches.
So I just had two quick points before I drop.
Okay.
I wanted to say, oh soul, you are a unattended martyr, and we love you for that. Right? I watched the video today. It was 110% unintended. It was bullshit. What happened, and we got your back. And the second point I wanted to make is you guys see all the military videos, right? Like when we're in line for inspection, you got this fucking guy come down with the white glove. He's checking weapons and all of this shit,
Right.
uniform. And if you got one mustache hair out of place, you're fucked for the rest of the 13 weeks, right? But
Yeah.
when you go do a military parade for the president, they allow a squeaky tank. How the fuck is that even possible?
I
Yeah.
don't know. It sounded like shit.
That's what I
It
said.
really did.
Squeaky tank.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
There's
I was
no,
like, what the fuck?
there's no way in hell that would have happened.
It's like
Unless
dead
No.
silence and like squeaky tank.
somebody didn't give two shits, because there's no way that would have happened, Mike. You have to be on your game that day in front of the leader of the military. You are the best of the freaking best. The equipment is the best of the best. And that fucker's not squeaking going down Washington Avenue.
Hell no. There was a
Well,
grease
you know-
pack. There was a grease pack that should have went into the
Somebody
tread of
said,
that tank
"Where's
and
the
it didn't.
WD-40?"
That was
Right.
me. They will pull out all the tricks on that. Nothing, everything gets checked. You trust but verify, right? That's what they used to always
Right.
say.
Yeah.
You trust it, but you
Right.
verify it. And before you go in front of the president, your shit better be right.
Well, the interesting thing about that, Trucker, is that they did have a squeaky tank, but it stood out even more because there was no other sound around it. You got these throngs of people, and you got
No
all
claps.
these people in the parade.
Yeah.
It was fucking crickets, except for that squeak.
Right, because no one was
Speaking of
clapping
sound.
or cheering.
When I graduated AIT and basic training down there in Fort Benning, Georgia, I had more applause by animals and shit down there than we did up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had more hair too.
I had a lot. I told you last night I had that fro. It was had a little Jerry Carroll juice in it and all that. It was nice.
Speaking of noise and stuff, did you guys, anybody else see the TikTok of the side by side comparison of the PBS broadcast of Trump's speech at the beginning of the parade? I think it was, or at the end, but he gave remarks anyway, and the Fox News coverage of it.
Oh yes, that
He's
drunk
standing
lady.
there. He's getting ready to start his remarks, and then he kind of looks confused. Whatever. Then he starts, and it's dead silence around him, and he just says his little thing. He gets a little bit of applause. Then you get to the Fox version, and it's indoor arena pumped in crowd noise. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, just like that, it stops. It's done, and he starts his remarks. And it's very clear that they were adding it in, so it sounded like he was getting all of the adulation and the cheers from a massive crowd.
Yeah, I got his.
Well, and here's the thing too that I don't understand. Over and above people just not wanting to go and being bored with the whole parade, they had a fucking ad in Craigslist giving people money in terms of crypto just to come out and fill seats. Apparently, none of those motherfuckers showed up either because they know Donald Trump is a goddamn deadbeat and they wouldn't
Yeah.
pay him anyway. And who
And
wants
the
it in crypto? Give me cash.
And the crypto's worth, they said 1,000, crypto or whatever. It was only like $4.
Yeah,
And
it was
probably Trump
Donald
coin
Trump's
between-
crypto.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
Right.
probably that Trump coin, which by tomorrow might be worth 40 cents.
Right.
Yeah,
their fast food meal and their soda was worth more than the crypto.
Right.
And one last thing before I drop, Mike, did you guys see that he was selling his watch at the beginning of the parade? He had
Wait,
a
This
what?
would at least have the
The
T.
what?
No
in the name.
way.
yes,
The Rock Watch?
yeah, he had
What the fuck?
the jumbotron. He had a advertisement
Oh,
for his watch.
I missed
that
that one.
Grifter's gonna grift.
that's fucking
Wow.
hilarious.
Jesus, Mary.
Yeah, and
It,
I
it
just I just pulled up pictures of the Revolutionary troop that was supposed to represent the Revolutionary War. They had basically white tops and white pants, and some of them had red coats, and some of them had blue coats, and trimmed in the opposite color. Made them look like these real, like a dress uniform would look. Yeah,
and our side did not have uniforms.
no, mm-mm.
Like TJ said, it was guerrilla warfare. That's how
Yeah,
we beat
exactly.
the British, because the British stand in line and shoot, but these fuckers are climbing in trees and shit
Yeah,
and
and shooting
kicking
them.
their ass.
Right.
They didn't have money for food, let alone fucking outfits.
No.
Right. Exactly.
Wow. People will try anything. Well, Trucker T, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to hear from you, and don't ever hesitate to stop in. And I've told you before, if you want to come on the podcast, just text me or email me. TJ can get in contact with me. Eric can get in
Yep.
contact with me. Just let them know, and we'll work it out.
Absolutely.
I've
I would
got
love to do that.
I've got Will coming up tomorrow. That should be interesting because he listened to Old Souls podcast, and
He was
he's a little
flipped.
fired up.
He flipped. Yeah, he flipped out today.
Well, I drove
He's a,
Yeah,
from
Will
he's
never has
losing his
anything to
mind,
say.
posting videos left and right.
Yeah, he really was pissed off.
no, I drove from South Bend, Indiana to Kalamazoo, Michigan, fuming after I watched that. I was just like, this. I'm like, over some gas, and Boomer. I know I'm gonna drop, but what you said was very poignant. You says, okay, if it's a whatever zone, why did they have a clerk in there?
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Exactly.
Nobody's supposed to be there, but we got a clerk in the store.
Right.
Makes
Yeah,
no fucking
exactly.
sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
No. So
Have you
anyway,
No.
seen like the girl that got shot in her chest? So the
no.
way that it's a trap is if you are standing on one side of the street, like on a curb, and you cross the street and you're on another curb, that other curb could be an evacuation zone. When you are in the
Wow.
evacuation zone, those have curfew, but the other side of the street doesn't have a curfew. So it's kind of like
Right.
no matter what you do, if they have a trap right there, you're just going to be in a trap because the one girl trying to go home and she's like, I can show my ID that this is my address. I just need to go home. But she had to go through the evacuation zone to get home and she got shot in the chest. So
Wow.
it's just,
She got
no
shot
matter
with a
what you do-
non-lethal round, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't a bullet.
Yeah.
It was a
Right.
non-lethal round.
Yeah. If
Yeah, but it probably
those,
felt lethal to her though.
yeah, those are traps. There's nothing you could do to get around it. If they're gonna arrest you, they're just gonna arrest you. That's it.
And I have a question for Old Soul, real quick.
Yeah.
When you were detained, did the people who detained you wear name badges?
No. So once I was like, when they had that trap, the ones that asked for my ID and all of that stuff, they were legit. But
Yeah.
once you get in the van and you get to the detention center, I'm assuming because they work in there, they are legit, but you know those are not real agents. They don't
Right.
have any like, badges, they don't have any name tags, nothing
So
like that. Just,
so my other question is, the people who detained you, did you make note of their names?
I didn't. Mm-mm. I should have, but I didn't.
Oh,
It's just like kind of in that moment where you're like, what the
yeah.
heck? You know what I mean? And you're trying to
Right.
stay calm and trying not to lose it, but at the same time, you're confused because you're not expecting that. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to get gas. That's it. You're not expecting it.
Did
Well, and
did
Old Soul,
anybody?
when you were in the detention center, you said you saw some of these officers or ICE agents, and they had suspect tattoos that would
Yeah.
suggest that they're not ICE agents.
Yeah, you know exactly
What did
what
you
their
see?
tattoos are. They
Yeah,
had
they're
those
the
different, yeah, they had like some S's on their necks. One of them had like
Yeah.
a swastika on his forearm. They were very, very clearly white supremacist tattoos. They
Wow.
like they don't even try to hide them. And so I was thinking to myself, like, oh, okay, so that's why when we see them in public, they do white supremacist stuff. They cover their faces, they cover their tattoos, they cover anything that can identify them. But once they're inside the building, they don't cover up at all. They just let it all hang out.
Wow. Wow. Were you ever, when I talked to you about this old soul on the podcast, the one thing I never heard in your voice about going through this whole thing, you never seem scared. Or am I reading that wrong?
No, I was scared. I just get very good at like kind of hiding it and not showing it. Because you do
Okay.
kind of the way that it is right now. I don't know if Chucker T does this or if Will does this, but you just understand that this is what it is, and you have to learn how to move within the new norms or the new guidelines. You know,
Yeah.
you just have to adapt to it, and you have to keep pushing. So if you're a minority, what the chances of you getting caught up is going to be like, and you make plans for that. So that's when I left. I told the girls, I sent a text message to my attorney, and then I should have like let my brother know, but I didn't. But it's just like, okay, hey, this is where I'm going. I'll call when I get there. I'll call when I'm on my way back. Like, you just kind of make plans, and you let people know that if you don't hear from me, this is where I was going. So for me,
But you felt
knew that. I knew
you
that
felt a
it
little
would be
safer because you're a citizen, right? You felt a little safer
yeah.
than the other people in there because you were a citizen, and those people that weren't citizens were treated pretty abhorrently.
Yeah, yeah. As sad as it is, you just know, like, the only thing you wonder is, like, okay, how long is it going to take for them to get me out of here? Like, like,
Yeah.
is it going to be a week? Is it going to be 2 days? Like, you don't know how long you're going to be in there.
Yeah,
And I think that
but
was, like, what my mind is like, I know I'm going to leave. I just don't know how long I'm going to have to sit in here.
yeah,
So
but
that kind
the,
of,
the,
like,
the thing that is fucked up about it is it was an unlawful detainment. Everything about what happened to you was a violation of your civil rights. Everything.
Absolutely.
And
yeah, but they don't care
there
about people's rights right now.
yeah, and that's what everybody needs to pay attention to is that this is beyond scary. They can
Yeah.
grab an American citizen off the street and detain you for no fucking reason other than getting gas. But
Yeah.
Well,
if that was me and they tried to grab me up, it would have ended way differently. I can assure you that it would have ended
uh,
way differently.
Stephen Miller described it as collateral damage. I think Elon Musk described
It's
it that way too. He was like, are we going to make
Right.
mistakes? Yes. Is some Americans going to get caught in this? Yes. But you know what I mean? So they are like prepping people to know, like, yeah, Americans are going to get caught up in here, but we make
no,
mistakes. That's what they're
no.
training Miller to think about it.
That's absolutely wrong. There should be
hmm
no collateral damage. If you show them a real ID, that's it. It's over. They should have never detained you.
They
And
don't even know what
Well,
real
that's
ID look like. They knew what my
well,
driver's license looked
They're
like,
not
but they didn't
real.
know what the real
You were
ID looked
not probably detained by real ICE agents. They weren't. You weren't. You were detained by Proud Boys and fucking
well, it's
masks.
absolutely stupid. It's absolutely stupid. If you have a real ID and they can't figure out that it's real, then they
like.
shouldn't be there in the first place. Like that's
exactly.
they violated your civil
Exactly.
rights. They kidnapped you by law, and by definition, you got kidnapped.
And they're being
Some
paid
people,
to do it because in this bill, I think they got like $40,000 bonuses for each of the people that's working. And then right now, I don't know if people have been paying attention to this. However, when you see Ashley Babbitt, when her mother sued, she got like $5 million. Different groups are suing, and then the DOJ is settling with them. Enrique Torres just sued for $100 million. So I'm
yeah,
just sitting back waiting to see what the settlement is. So what he is doing is like the Proud Boys and all of these other people, they're saying, okay, yes, sue us and we will settle and give you a certain amount of money.
Well,
So
old
they
soul,
are being rewarded for this.
I would tell you this: whatever gas station you were at probably has surveillance cameras on all their pumps, and so if you got unlawfully detained, I would ask them for that video footage because you could probably use that later.
Yeah.
That information
You're
I
probably
did
not.
get from my attorney.
They,
He
but
asked
you
for
only
it. Like
have
when I
30 days. You only have 30
yeah,
days because usually.
when I
Go
went to
ahead.
get my card, like my attorney, when I talked to him, he was just like, "Hey, you know, give my card to the person inside the store, get their information." So he does
Right.
have that information, and then we'll just
Yeah,
go from there.
I would definitely ask for that because that may be relevant later.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to pull up 1023 Tony. We'll see what Tony's got on his mind here. Hey, Tony, how are you doing? What are you thinking about? Tony?
Tony's watching TV.
Yeah, apparently so. He's caught up in the manhunt that paid off here. Again, people are suggesting that the person who shot the lawmakers in Minnesota has been caught. That is true, and we'll give you more information as we get more information coming to us. It's been very, very sketchy as far as this point, but the guy's been caught, and that is the good news. All right, let's go to Tisha. Let's see what Tisha has to say, assuming she's available.
On.
Hey, Tisha, how you doing? What's on your mind?
All right, I was wondering because I don't think that they are federal agents or Homeland Security. There was some states that were giving out bounties for every illegal immigrant that they could capture. Whether that is still in effect.
Are you talking about the 3,000 quota per day now?
Yes, because it
Yeah.
sounds like that they're going around picking up just any old body. Don't care
Oh,
to
they
get that
definitely
money.
don't care what they get.
I just
And
before you say anything more, I just got a text from Will. He says he's blocked, so I'm going to, when we get done here, I'll
okay,
make sure he's not blocked, because that would be pretty
I
fucked
was
up, because
I
he's
was
going to be on the
wondering
podcast
why.
tomorrow. He's going to be on the podcast
Hold
tomorrow.
on a
So,
second. I might be able to fix that. Hold on. Give me a minute.
all right,
Give
all
me a
right,
minute.
go ahead.
I
and the
was
other
wondering
thing
why
is,
I keep the pop-ups kept coming that he was like sharing videos in our group chats, and I'm like, why isn't he here? But I guess that's
Give
why.
me a
Yeah,
minute. Let me see. I
and
can
I
see all the blocked
wasn't,
people. Hold on.
and
I'll
I
work on it.
wasn't. I didn't look at the parade because I thought it was ridiculous. But did they say
yeah.
anything about the senator that was unalive and the ones that were injured by this crazy lunatic the other day? Did
Yeah.
they mention them at all? And condolences, or did they just go ahead and did their little thing at the parade?
Trump did say something about it, and he was fairly
Well,
decent about it. We
yeah,
don't, we don't approve of this, and Pam Bondi's going to be on the job trying to find them, and I don't know who ultimately found them, but he didn't say anything. But at the same time, while Donald Trump was being fairly contrite about this situation, there is who's the guy in Utah? Mike Lee.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mike
Oh,
Mike Lee might have got himself in trouble because he made a joke about
This
these
has
shootings in
gone
Minnesota.
this has gone
What a piece of
absolutely
shit.
crazy. This has gone absolutely crazy. It's no bottom that they won't fall to, but I think ultimately, seriously, is that if we get involved with sending troops over to Israel because of that bomb and send those young guys over there, that's it. That's
Yeah.
it. That's their grave. That's their grave. That's going to seal the deal because we don't belong over there. We don't.
Well,
No, hell no. J.D. Farmer made a comment, and he said the rumor is that Mike Lee will be expelled from Congress because of his comment. And JD, I don't know where you got the rumor from,
Yeah.
but this isn't the worst thing a member of Congress on the Republican side has done. And
It
they'll fuck,
isn't.
as far as I can tell, they're going to ignore it and they'll just let him get away with it. That's always been
Yeah.
the case. Hopefully he will get expelled. He should be expelled,
Right.
but
I
I don't
probably
have any
should have got
confidence the
expelled
Republicans
a
would do
while
it.
back. But I think if Trump put his foot in that war, that hot war mess going on in Israel and Iran, that's their cooker. That's it.
Well, I just want to say this. Donald Trump in his campaign sold himself as the peace president.
Yeah,
He
he
said he
did.
would. He said he would end the Israeli Hamas war. He said he would end the Russian Ukraine war. Now we have both those wars still raging, and now
Yep.
we have Iran and Israel going at it. So the idea that he's the peace president, sorry, that's not motherfucking true.
I think they
I
all
don't
know that he's a big old punk. I think they
Yeah.
all know he's a punk.
I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
paid attention, but even Tucker Carlson came out and spoke against it. So there's like his hardcore, die-hard Trumper people that's speaking out against that. I think Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, all of the roaches, they've all spoken out against it. So I can just imagine the hardcore base who feels like America should be America only and the rest of the world can go screw themselves. They
Yeah.
are not going to like
Right.
this at
I
all.
think that Trump wants to be an isolationist, and he's headed in that direction. And I also think that when Bibi went on and did his thing, he's been trying to get America in there for a long, long time for everything. And
Yeah.
now he's going to go it alone because he's not going to get no help from no one. He's not going to get help from any of those Muslim countries, not one. Not
Well,
one.
and the thing, it makes sense for Bibi to go after Iran because we know that Bibi is in office and protected while he's in office as long as there's a war going on. That's why the
Right.
Israeli-Hamas war isn't over yet. And just in case there was going to get close with Hamas, he thought he'd start with Iran too. This is how he stays into power
Stay in the power,
in
right?
his position and stays out of fucking jail. That's what it's all about. And that's what I told people coming up to this election. Everybody said genocide Joe and all this other shit. And I said, here's what's going to happen. Donald Trump is going to let Bibi Netanyahu do whatever the fuck he wants. And that's pretty much what's happening.
Right, but I think that it's going to be a little bit more trickier than what they were doing with the Palestinians, because the Palestinians
Oh, yeah.
was not. They really didn't have the armament to fight back. Iran does, and I think that they bit off more than they can chew because the other countries that surrounds Israel is not going to step in. They're not going to step in at all.
Yeah, Bibi's not worried about the people of Israel. He's worried about Bibi and
Right.
whatever it takes and however he can be protected as long as he
Right.
can perpetuate this aggression wherever he's going to perpetuate it, he's safe. And that's all he's thinking about right now.
Right, and I think he also, sorry to say that most of those young men and women that were kidnapped, they are probably not above ground anymore.
Yeah.
He did a
Yeah,
lot
you're
of
probably
damage.
right.
He did a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's appalling what's going on in the Middle East, and I've told
Right.
people, there's a lot of people really concerned about this, and I said, look, I'm 65 years old. This has been going on the entire time I've been alive and beforehand. We
Right.
have these fights, we have these skirmishes. We
Right.
think we have some resolution to it, and then it starts up again.
Right.
I mean, there's only so much America can do.
Right.
And to think that Joe Biden should have done more, he did a lot. He had reins on Bibi Netanyahu. Now there are no reins, and he's going to do whatever the fuck he wants.
Right, right. And it's very, very sad because a lot of people on both sides are going to suffer for him to stay in office. I mean, if you do wrong, why can't you be a man and say, look, whatever, if they give me 3 years, I can take it. They can't take it. So if
No.
you don't want to do the time, don't do the crime. That's just as simple as that. If they caught you, they caught you. So get out. Get out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Tisha, thank you for coming on. I
Okay.
appreciate it immensely. Feel free to
Okay.
come on
I
anytime.
will do. All right,
Uh,
host. Take care.
you too, Tisha. Thank you very much.
Hey,
Let's see who
Mike.
else we got here. Yeah.
In between, I look back in like 9 months of blocks, and Will's not blocked. So I invited him to live. I don't know what if it's gonna work or not, but he's not in the blocked list. So
I didn't
I have
block
no
him.
idea. I didn't block him. JD definitely didn't block him. So I don't know what the heck's going on here.
I mean, I'd be afraid to block him. I don't know what the fuck you do then. Um, Speaking of people I'm fearful of, let's talk to C Temptation.
Hey,
Hey,
see.
C, how you doing, man?
Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. I want to take a moment to wish all of the fathers a happy Father's Day, and I hope you had a great day today. That's number one.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. I had a great day hanging out with my granddaughter mostly, and that was fucking
That's a
awesome.
beautiful
So thank
thing.
you.
Yeah.
It is.
And number two, I was very happy to find out about, the protest. I mean, I'm really proud that a lot of people is standing up and saying that this behavior from Donald Trump is unacceptable. But the only thing that I'm going to state is that we need to have that same mindset come the midterms of next year. And like I've been mentioning on my shows as well, though, people need to get out and vote.
Yeah, they absolutely do. But, people, I will say this, see, over and above the voting, that's a given. We've got to do that when the
Absolutely.
midterms come. But we
Absolutely.
can't let up. We can't let up now. Like I said
No.
before, we had these protests. It can't be just protests. It's got to be a movement. And I'm sensing that's kind of what's happening. So we've got to keep our mouths yapping. We got to control the narrative. We got to keep up protests. We got to keep
Exactly.
putting the pressure on.
And it's really important, and I've been mentioning this on my previous videos on my channel, that it's really important that we have to reach out to our local officials. Like you said, if we call them, if we email them, whatever it is, whatever form of communication you use, do it. Because,
Yeah,
like I said,
absolutely.
our lives is on the line. America is on the line.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, when Donald Trump got elected, I said, and I was totally wrong about this. I said, well, he can only go so far. He can only do so much because Congress will stop him, even the Republicans. Boy, I was fucking wrong about that because the Republicans have been absolute cowards, and Donald Trump has caused a bigger mess than I ever imagined in just 4 short months.
But Mike, look at it on the positive side, though, because I mean, from an analytical point of view, because right now, so far, he's 9-90. He has lost 90 cases. So,
Yeah,
everything that he touched, and even you said it on your previous videos, everything he touched, it fails. Even down to his
yeah,
so-called parade he had yesterday, it was a flop.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that's the one saving grace we have. Everything he says he's going to do, he usually fails, and that's been his history. From the
Exactly.
time he went in business to trying to get into a decent school, he's always failed, and somebody has bailed him out or helped him along the way. Fewer and fewer people are willing to help him because they understand that he will ultimately crash and burn, and he'll take them with him.
Right. And seeing what he doesn't believe is, though, about the power of karma, because what you put out there is going to come back to you. And it's coming back to him,
Yeah,
whether
it
people
definitely is.
realize it or not.
It definitely is. It absolutely is.
Now,
See, I'm
far
going
as
to
I
pull.
will state this now, because far as with the Army, the 250-year anniversary, I can understand that because my father served in the Army and he served in the Korean War. I get that part,
Yeah,
but it was just too much emphasis on Donald Trump.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm going
Part I had a
to
problem.
see. Just hold on. We're getting down toward the end here. I got a few other people I want to pull up.
Okay.
This is Pamela. Hey, Pamela, how you doing? And what's on your mind?
Hey, Boomer. I
Hey,
was, thanks for having me up. Hello, panel. Um, yeah, I was just listening to another live a little while ago, and this woman, this girl that's an RN, I mean, she's educated. Anyway, she was on there saying that he's on True Social. He's ranting and raving about letting Tom Homan wishing him good luck and going into the blue cities and just tearing them apart,
Yeah.
for ICE to go in there. And it's just a long rant. Of course, you can tell it's written by Stephen Miller because
Yeah.
Trump don't know that many words. And it was quite kind of well written. And Trump don't know that many words. And so it's
No.
like, oh my God, I'm telling you people, he's the one we have to be afraid of. Trump, he is, here's the way I see things is I sit back, I listen, I watch lives, I listen to people's videos and whatever. And so the way I see it, we're better off with Trump just sitting in there, his ass and that behind at the Resolute desk, because if you get rid of him, if you basically boot him out one way or another through the old folks home or what, we're going to get JD, and he's more on board with Stephen Miller and Peter Thiel's agenda. And I think
Yeah,
it'll
but
be
he
10
does.
times worse.
I don't think it'll be 10 times worse because he doesn't wield the kind of power. A lot of the Trumplafucks don't support him. They don't like him. He's not going to be, he's obviously easily manipulated. And what I would guess would happen is once Donald Trump is gone, for whatever reason, they're going to want to settle things down and make things normal again, or at least close to normal. So he'll be under their thumb pretty good. He won't be good. I grant you. He's as bad mentally as far as his ideology. He's better in terms of his cognitivity, but he's weak. He's weak. Not many people like him. And I'll guarantee you Donald Trump is already paranoid of J.D.
Oh, I'm
Vance.
sure.
Don't be surprised if he gets rid of J.D. Vance before Donald Trump leaves.
Well, I'm sure Susie Wild's trying to protect her job, and so she's probably in his ear about, they're trying to kick you out. They're trying to get rid of you. So that's probably the only thing that's going on now. But I'm worried about, I hate that little fucker, Stephen Miller. He is so evil. He looks evil. He's just, if there was like a wish. If I had a wish, but that parade yesterday was such a joke. They are laughing at us all over the world. It's such an embarrassment. It did my heart good to see everybody out and about yesterday and whatever. And we can't let up. We got to have another one of those, only tenfold Labor Day, like Labor Day weekend. Make it a whole weekend. I don't care. Take shifts. I don't care. But
Well, anytime we can crush Donald Trump's ego, that is the worst thing we can do to him. That is the thing that takes the toll the most. When we call him a chicken or his parade takes his shit, and we make fun of him for it. And understand, though, that when we do that, like with this parade, he's going to come back and try to hit harder and do something
and the letter's
crazier
right.
or meaner. But he will fail again and again and again. So let's do it until he runs himself into the fucking ground.
Well, I'm sure that's why the letter tonight, we're going to let up on the farmers and the hotel workers and the field workers and stuff. But now we're going to go into the blue cities and wreak havoc as much as they can. And I'm sure that was the pushback from, like I can see that little Miller guy going like, okay, now we got to really double down. That was just, too awful for us.
Well, let them do
honest.
it. Let them do it. How'd that work out for them in Chicago?
Yeah.
So let them keep
exactly.
fucking trying it.
Oh, he don't want to cross paths with Chicago. He don't want to go there.
It's
I'm
kind of
just
like when
worried
they said they
about
were thinking about going to Compton. Yeah, you go to Compton,
Yeah.
see how that
Yeah.
works out
Yeah.
for you.
Look around and find out. That's all I'm
Right.
going to say.
Well, here's the thing I want to point out to people when he says, he's getting pushback from the farmers and from the hospitality business. So I'm not going to go into the farms and raid the farms, and I'm not going to go into hotels and raid the hotels. But wait a minute. All the people that work in farms and hotels also go to malls, schools, churches, all the places he will still go. So even though he may not go into the farms and stuff, these people still don't feel safe here. They're not going to stick around for this shit. They go other places other than their fucking job. So
Right.
the whole concept of me not going into farms or hotels is bullshit.
Well, doesn't that mean that mass deportation is over? Because you can't. Like, what are you going to do? Like, you're not going to target farms, and you're not going to target hospitality, hotels, and all this shit. But any other time of the day, when they're not working, they're going to be in the grocery store or wherever they're at. Like, it doesn't even make any sense. Like,
No,
they can't keep moving with this mass deportation thing because it's not viable. They're going to
Well,
end up deporting the people that Donnie backpedaled on because he's a taco. They're gonna eventually deport them by accident.
Well, I
yeah.
want to
Oh
know is
yeah.
all of a sudden they're not poisoning the blood of America? What happened? They're
Yeah.
still the same people. Now all of a sudden they're not poisoning the blood of America.
Well, because avocados will be
Well,
fucking $100. That's why.
Well, you make a good point about the deportation and the mass deportations. If you were to pick out the two businesses where there are the most immigrants coming across the border to work in, it would be farms and it would be
Yes.
hospitality. So if
exactly.
you're taking the two biggest groups and saying we're not going to deport them, like you say, what's the point of doing it at all? It's fucking
Right.
ridiculous.
What's the purpose?
Well, the whole premise of it was stupid from the beginning.
Yeah, and if you take
Well,
Yeah.
the hospitality and add in the restaurant industry, if you consider them a part of it, I mean, that's even another big group of people.
Well, you forgot though, we're dealing with an idiot. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
Well, it's
No,
it's
he
not
doesn't.
it's not just an idiot. It's a group of idiots.
Well, Trump is the main idiot. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, of course.
You know, I want to give a little warning to Republicans, and Mike Lee is a good example of this. I don't. Donald Trump says a lot of egregious shit, and he gets away with it for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why he gets away with it. But when Mike Lee or other Republicans try to say the same shit so they can be funny or cool or whatever or clever, you can't get away with it. Donald Trump gets away with ridiculous shit, and I don't know why. But if Mike Lee wants to talk like Donald Trump, it's not going to go well for you, motherfucker.
Well, I want to know where was all of his kids? Why weren't they there? Where was all of the Senate and the congressmen? How come none of them were there? They're
Good
supposed to
question.
love him and kiss his ass and do
Lick his
whatever,
boots and all that whole bullshit.
Where's Mike Johnson? Where's all of these
Stephen
people?
Miller and all them
Marjorie
clowns.
Taylor. Where was she? I didn't
Pam
see.
Bondi, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Should we go further?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like it was.
yeah,
Those should have been at least in the thing. All I seen was his cabinet.
yeah,
And
yeah,
not even all of
absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
Well, Pamela, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it immensely. I've got a couple other people I want to get up, and we got the show closer in more ways than one that's out there too. So, thank
Thanks,
you for
honey.
coming on, Pamela. All right, we'll
Good
talk
night,
to you soon.
panel.
All right, let's see here. I think I changed something. Oh, there we go. Okay, let's see who else we got out here. Bender 38 US.
Oh, that's
Two?
Will. That's Will.
That's Will. Will, nobody blocked you that I know of. I'll check when
Well,
I
yeah,
get off here.
because I saw you and I tried to touch it, and the first thing I thought, I went Denzel. Oh, you motherfuckers. That's what I did. Oh,
We didn't block you, bro.
So-
I'm just telling you.
I know you
I
didn't,
looked
guys.
back through all
I know,
the
it's
blocks.
just,
Hey, Will,
was
why would I
weird.
block you? You're going to be on the podcast tomorrow. That means a day off for me. Why would I fucking do
yeah,
that?
I know.
Yeah. You're
I
gonna.
know.
What's on your
I just
mind,
wanted
dude?
to pop in, honestly, just for a minute, because we're going to talk about that tomorrow. Oh, so how you doing?
Yeah.
I'm doing good. Well, how are you?
Yeah, I'm really sorry my city treated you like that. That was not right. And
I'm
Yeah,
sorry you went through it too, old
my
soul. That was
apologies.
foul.
it wasn't your city.
So
That was the federal government, and you know
they're,
what they got going
yeah,
on.
but they're in my city. So, but I just
Wow.
wanted to say that to you, Mike. I'll catch you tomorrow. I got to get going because it got late, but I appreciate y'all. Y'all be safe, okay? Appreciate you.
All
Good
right, we'll
night,
talk.
Will.
Good night, Will.
Good night, Will.
We'll talk to you tomorrow, Will. I'll check out the block situation. All right, we're going to bring up one more person if he's still here. He's still here.
It's going to be
British
British John.
British Bad Penny John. That's an American term, so he may not get that. But anyway, British John, how you doing? What's on your mind?
You had to bring me. Just give me a second, Mike. No, it's G403. It's a very special lube. It's only for tanks. I need some now. We have got. What do you mean you don't have any? I'm trying to fix a problem here, Mike. All right, it's and by the way, TJ, will you stop pleasuring your rumba when you're on here? Okay.
What
Seriously.
the fuck are you talking about?
Well, somebody's doing some construction while we're on the show here. So,
No, I walked down the steps.
Well, then put a softer peg leg on. Seriously.
yeah.
Holy.
Anyway, go ahead, British John.
I can't. Hey, John, I can't hear you with Trump's cock in your mouth. Just so you know.
Oh, wow. And I'm worried about British John. Shut up, TJ. No, I'm kidding.
I spoke to your boyfriend the other day. He said the best part of a relationship with you is when he's doing that. He doesn't have to fucking listen to you. Anyway,
No, he's got old jokes. He's got old jokes tonight. Okay.
Yeah.
I've been using that for a while, my friend. That is not a dad joke. That's a joke you can't do if your daughter's around you. What an interesting time to be alive. This week. I mean, who's to blame for the lackluster? I'm not sure. I am ex-military, and I know this: nobody who survived basic training marches that badly. Like,
No.
I'm not sure. I know that Dana White, the owner of UFC and the energy was sponsoring this. Did everybody have White Claws before they started?
Apparently.
And can we please have some compassion for the drone operator who had to carry the drone? Was there anything sadder than a drone operator carrying his drone on his shoulder? I mean, that is
Yeah, that's
graduated from, so many video games to that moment in life. I mean, that was Call of Duty cosplay nightmare.
yeah.
Yeah.
What I also heard that after the national anthem or whatever they did, there was supposed to be a flyover, and for some reason it didn't happen.
Oh, there were planes. There were planes that you just couldn't see them through the clouds.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you could see one if they were below the cloud base. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Wow.
was. So I was actually in DC on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week. I was speaking at the AWS Summit Conference. That's right. I have a real job, boys and girls. I shot 20 TikToks outside the White House at midnight on Monday.
Wow.
Wow.
You can't
I
get close
watched-
to it though, can you?
I watched them.
Yeah, TJ watched them. Yeah, I just from the I don't know, the park area. Well, actually, where they were building the so behind the stand that you all could see before they that wasn't that. They put that up pretty quick, along with the rest of the parade, apparently.
Right.
But I shot 20 TikToks on. I wrote the scripts on the plane, and the feedback. I want to give you some. I'll give you the funny, then I'll give you the heartfelt. So there was a few MAGA people listening, and that was fine because they didn't understand a lot of the words I was using.
Well, when you go multisyllabic, it fucking throws them.
It does. But one of them asked me, was I insulting the president? And I said, only if he understands. And
Yeah, exactly.
that went right over his red hat. but let me give you there is still some good in this country. So the last person I spoke to, they were listening to me doing these things, and I'm dialing the British up to 11 like I do on. I don't sound like my video poison girls. Okay, even I can't be that annoying in real life. And just ask my wife. And the this couple and their daughter, she was 15 years old, and they were walking around all the sites at night. They'd been to the Capitol building, they'd been to the Supreme Court. The White House was the last part of their tour before they went back to their hotel. And this young lady was from Idaho, and she had come second place in the national history competition. And very proud to be an American, and she understood history. And her dad asked me, what does the rest of the world think of this? And I explained I'm actually from California, and we're fine with it as long as you stay on your side of the Sierras. And, but this guy cares so, and I empathize with him. I've got an 8-year-old daughter. He has a 15-year-old daughter, and we are doing everything we can to equip them with education, morality, empathy, but we're also doing everything we can to protect them from the lunacy. We don't want our kids to know how bad it is. I don't want my kid to know that she's 8 years old and wearing an Apple Watch so that I know where she is if I visit the school, because she will tell you she's British because she thinks it's cute.
Right.
That's not a joke, I'm afraid. I wish it was.
Well, and we know that based on Old Soul, being born and raised in America, being a woman of color, she ended up in ICE detention, so it could happen to anybody.
Right.
Well, I only called him for the money, for the rewards, but again, sorry. DJ is the one that texted me the number, to be fair. But the TikToks have been well received, and it was a lot of fun making them and challenging people, and they're going to keep going up. I got a few more to edit and post this week. But one thing I do, just being almost serious again, I posted a video about an hour ago. It was brought to my attention, this young lady in Florida, Cynthia, for MAGA, who voted for Trump and recorded for TikTok her conversation with the immigration authorities petitioning to have her father released on compassionate grounds. He was an undocumented worker.
That's what I was telling you guys about earlier.
I'm sorry, also, I came in late.
No, it was so sad. I watched that video and I was like, oh my God. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, she voted for this, knowing her father's situation. And you can actually hear essentially the parole board or the ICE equivalent saying, no, we're not going to let it. We have rules, we have laws, and he is in breach of them. And that poor man is in a hospice cell in a detention center. And the video, I made it quite clear. Happy Father's Day for all fathers, but especially his. And the question I have to ask myself is, and I said it in the video, can I love somebody but disown them as well? I've been in a situation where I've loved somebody but not liked them in that moment, but this goes another step.
It really does, yeah.
How could you do this to your to your immediate, the person who raised you? How could you put them in this kind of danger? You can't say you didn't know. You can't say you didn't think they were going to do this, because they told you what the playbook was.
Well, that's the thing, British John. For me, people say, well, once this is all over, will you welcome them back? Doesn't have anything to do with whether I like them or don't like them. I can't trust them. They made poor choices. They smirked at us while they knew they made poor choices. They did damage to this country and people in this country. They can never be trusted. It's like anybody else. If I was in business and somebody fucked me over, I would never do business with them again. And same can be said for people in general when they decide to stand by a 34 times felon, twice impeached, and somebody who's been adjudicated a sexual predator. Why would you trust this idiot? what could possibly get you to do that? And if you support them, at the very least, you're an accessory after the fact.
1,000%. It's America's going to go through a big education moment over the next couple of years, and what's interesting, I do find this amusing. I've had a lot fewer people talking shit about California these days.
Yeah.
What's going on here in California? I think a number of people have worked out. Oh, he really was trying to create a civil war. Yeah. People don't. LA County. LA County. Let me just third word times. County holds more people in a county than 40 of the other states. Just for context. Yes, I know it's a British person, and this is a geography lesson. I know it's fucked up, but the fact that this is why this happened there. He wanted to put boots on the ground. He wanted to create the left version of an insurrection so he could call foul on it and use the Insurrection Act and all those wonderful things. And I mean, I'm not a fan of Governor Newsom, but I mean, obviously the hair and teeth. I mean, they're fantastic. I mean, amazing.
Yeah, he's a hunk. There's no question about it.
But yeah, just the loss of control of this country to this, and as you said, Congress just being so supine to this, and the fact that we're reliant on the courts holding him to any kind of is.
Well, fortunately, maybe 10 million people hit the streets, and we're the last line, apparently. At least we've got a good start to it. British John, why don't you just hold on for a second? I'm going to wrap things up here in a minute. I've got one other person I want to bring up, and the main reason I want to bring them up is because they had a question for TJ, and I got to fucking hear this.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Okay, let's see. Okay, Avian, you were asking to come up and talk to TJ, so here's your chance.
Not just TJ, but I had a question for you as well. I'm sure you probably saw it already. It's in regards, you remember the old radio station Air America?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You sound a lot like one of the hosts that I used to listen to on a daily basis. I know you're most likely not him, but you sound a lot like Mike Reagan.
Mike Reagan.
Reagan, the adopted son of Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, no, I'd never heard that before. People.
You sound a lot like him.
But it's definitely not me.
No.
Well, I could be, given Reagan's track record, I could be Mike Reagan, just change my same name to Mike something else because I'm embarrassed as hell about what my father did. But no, I'm embarrassed about my father for other reasons. But no, it's not me. I appreciate that.
Okay.
I've never heard that. I've never ever heard that before. I've heard some weird
your
shit.
Your cadence is almost identical. And I was an avid listener to his show. And when Rachel Maddow was on there, I would listen to her as well. But TJ, the main question is where did you get that t-shirt in your description picture?
Where did I get that t-shirt? You want one?
I do want one of those shirts.
Well, it's kind of a history. It's kind of a history lesson. That shirt is a battle flag from the War of 1812.
I know, that's why I want it. I'm a huge history. I love reading about history, and I know what that came from. So that's why I'm asking.
I can if you follow me on TikTok, they sell these T-shirts in a gift shop in my city because we're the ones that built the ships that actually during the War of 1812 defeated the British on on the lake
right
during the War of 1812. And so we have a gift shop here that sells them, but if you look on eBay you can find those shirts, so you don't have to buy it from our gift shop or whatever. But
there's only one other person I saw wearing that shirt, and it was in a punk band that I went to see in South Carolina.
It was probably my band.
Underground.
But he's
Well,
in
there
a
was a
punk
local
band.
underground.
Are you sure it wasn't my
local
band?
underground.
Oh, okay.
Unless it was Mean Wiener.
No, that's not it.
Okay,
But
well, I
I
appreciate
actually,
you bringing me up.
we actually have a flagpole in the back of the house, and we actually fly that flag all the time.
That is awesome.
Wow.
That is absolutely
Yeah,
awesome.
there's a very significant historical thing about that flag, and I'm sure if you're history buff, you know about what it means and all that stuff. But yeah,
I do.
you can definitely buy it from eBay. You can buy it on a gift shop. If you send me a message, I'll definitely hook you up with that. But yeah,
Okay.
it's I actually wrote a song about it. So if you send me a message, I will put the song in the reply as a link, and you can listen to the song.
Sweet. Thank you.
I think you'll love it.
Reginald, I love your
Yeah.
middle name. I love
Thank you.
the name you have on here. It's awesome. Same with you, TJ, and Analytical. That is freaking amazing name that you have. Thanks, guys, for being you on here. Have a great night. I appreciate you bringing me up.
All right,
I
brother.
appreciate
Good
it.
night.
I'm gonna wrap things up
Before you-
because we're going a little long again. But I want to thank TJ. I want to thank
More
Rebecca,
the world. If you're
Analytical, Old Soul, British John, Sea Temptation, Avian, Oliver's, JD Farmer, who's doing some moderation. I appreciate you guys coming on. It makes it more interesting and a lot easier for me when you guys talk as much as you fucking talk. It's great. I get a day off and I like it. So
Mike, can I say
So-
one thing before you end this? Ladies
what am I
and
going to say?
gentlemen,
No?
what you say?
Go ahead.
Up there talking shit. That's all you know.
That's all I know. That's
I know.
what I do.
No, but seriously though, ladies and gentlemen, just to let you know, I started my own channel on YouTube and Instagram, The Political Discussion. Come and check me out if you like my videos. Subscribe, share out to your friends because I done put some content up there.
Absolutely. And I'll be selling Girl Scout cookies. I'll let you know about that when that comes through. But yeah, check out.
I love you, boy.
I love you too. Check out Sea Temptation. Check out British John stuff, Analytical Iowan. Check that out. TJ posts now and again. I don't know that Rebecca does, but it's a great to have you guys on here and make this an interesting show. Those of you listening, thanks for taking the time. I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Bye, Mike.